Tyrone Nelson, Michael County.
I'm sorry.
No, Bonnie, go. Ladies first.
Council.
Ellen Robertson, City of Richmond.
Dan Schmidt, Henrico.
Lincoln Saunders, City of Richmond.
Barb Smith, Chesterfield.
Jim Engel, Chesterfield.
Dave Anderson, Chesterfield.
Cheryl Adams, GRTC.
Andreas Addison, City of Richmond.
Johnson Zarella, GRTC.
Monica Carter, GRTC. Faith Walker, RBA. Tanya Thompson, GRTC.
Ted Lance, RBA.
Mark Renee, GRTC.
Mark Clark.
GRTC.
Thank you. Public comments.
Everybody, good morning.
Um,
I have received 2 public comments since the last meeting. I will summarize the ones from the last meeting, because I'm not sure what the rules are, which were 2 folks that were in favor of maintaining fare free service. And then these 2 weeks' comments. One is from Jihad, who says, my route is that I take back and forth from the south to the east a lot of times. And my story is, true story now, about the bus light and the bus route. The bus route has gotten lighting over at the new transfer station. Me personally, I love it because there's a whole lot of lighting now. And the old transfer plaza was a dark area. And there's a whole lot of people sleeping on benches over there and stuff. I just like it over here. It's a much more comfortable area to be in. It's really nice, and it's good to catch the bus. And then from Thomas Allman, who misses me anecdotalizing, loves to be in our comment section on Instagram. I ride mostly the 2 bus and the 3 routes, and sometimes all of the routes. What I would really like to see is all of the bus stops having shelters and benches, and some of them need to be brought out of the woods and remade for people who are in wheelchairs. A lot of this is designed for able-bodied people, not disabled people and older people. That's part of the problem. Having the transfer station is nice, but it's also still out in the elements, and it doesn't have a bathroom, which is very important. I know this is temporary, but we need a good permanent station. Even Petersburg has a better one. So, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Anyone here? Public comments?
Good morning, board and president. My name is Faith Walker. I'm writing on behalf of RV Rapid Transit to express our strong support for the ongoing collaboration between GRTC and the City of Richmond and the implementation of the permanent downtown transfer station. This initiative is crucial for enhancing the accessibility and efficiency for overall experience of public transportation in our city. The establishment of a permanent downtown transfer station hub will offer numerous benefits to our bus riders and community at large. One of the areas is this efficiency is crucial for improving the overall reliability of the transfer system or the transit system, but also, as we just heard before, protection from the elements. As we continue to experience rising temperatures, having a covered climate controlled space is essential for the comfort and safety of transit users. I also want to add to, recently we took thermal images and photos before shelters were installed. Some of the surface temperature at the downtown transfer station was registering at 130 degrees. When they were installed, it did cool the area down, but as you can imagine, it's still hot because there's a large surface area. So we highly encourage that this space be covered. And then also a centralized transportation hub. A permanent station will serve as a centralized hub, making it easier for riders to connect between different transit routes. And so RV Rapid Transit believes that this project represents a significant step forward in our collective efforts to build a connected and resilient equitable transit system. I know that this is going to take regional support, but I do believe that we have the right people in the room. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you. Consent, no. Approval of July 16th minutes. Any questions or comments? If not, can we get a motion to accept those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Consent agenda. Microtransit, paratransit, onboard communications, technology upgrade, articulated onboard communication, technology, Microsoft software licensing renewal, GRTC and RideFinders corporate bank resolutions, and training stimulator. All of the staff are here. If anybody has any questions about anything on the consent agenda. Questions? All right, hearing none, can we get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Second.
All right, moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, operational updates. Operational performance and ridership performance. Okay.
Morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I'm going to do the operations update on behalf of Hernandez, who's out on business today. Regarding transportation, we continue to remain above the 90% of our staffing goal for the fixed route operators. And as for microtransit, it continues to run smoothly. And with full staffing, perhaps adding some additional shift coverage to help with wait times in Ashland and Azalea zones. Regarding maintenance and facilities, they continue to meet their PM goals for the small buses and fixed routes. And it was also mentioned that as far as the facilities team, they've been very hard at work maintaining or having projects in place that they've been working on regarding have their HVAC replacement, the water heater replacement, and then there's a big painting or repainting project that will be taking place in the facility as well. For safety, there was some expected spikes in incidents and accidents due to the year-over-year trend of summer months. We typically see that. And the training department's been working hard at retrains and working with the newer operators to prevent future accidents. And for customer service, overall, there was a decrease in the number of complaints system-wide with 9 commendations for our awesome staff. This concludes my report. If any of you have any questions that I will try my best to answer.
Yes.
A quick question on the graph of the annual operator turnover. Is there a time of year that we expect or we anticipate more turnover than in other times? I mean, obviously the chart looks really good here, but we're 2 months in. Is there a time of year where that number tends to go up to the end of year, end of calendar year? Any insight on that?
Normally it's the springtime. In the fall and the winter, we don't normally have a high turnover. People have a tendency to stay put, but the springtime, we did see a spike in turnover.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Ridership. Was that ridership?
No. Do
Oh.
you have his report? Can you pull it up? Yeah. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. We'll cover some highlights. A lot of this was covered in the development committee meeting, so we'll so this covers July ridership performance, breaking it out to BRT, Express, and local ridership. You can see as our general trend, we are on the increase for the month of July across the board. All right, so planning broke out just kind of the highlights in terms of Route 19, Route 20, 4A, 4B of year over year and month over month. Route 19 kind of being very significant, knowing that in January we increased the frequency from 30 to 50 minutes and then a small extension to sheltering arms. So we do see a significant increase to correlate with that increase in service. Route 20 also had an increase in service, click back the midday. So that also has an increase. And then our 4A, 4B, we do see an increase month over month of those Fulton Montrose routes. All right, for very high level highlights for microtransit performance, Ashland, Azalea, Cloverdale, Powhatan, Stanston, those are going to be our zones for the majority of FY25. So this slide has become more complicated where we have kind of put in targets for rural areas, urban areas, and can see kind of the range of May, June, and July. Total monthly completed trips on the left. So we see a continued increase in use of service as a whole, with the blue just increasing. And then shared trips, the story here is we want to get more shared trips in terms of efficiency of utilization of the vehicle. And there's a target per zone. So those are increasing. And of course, the more established zones, Azalea and Ashland, have a lot higher percentage than the rest of the zones. And this is overall total monthly ridership and average daily ridership. Similar trends, blue being July, where you continue to see an increase. People are using Link, the word is continuing to spread out. We even see utilization in the more rural zones of Powhatan, and then Stanston being the newest one is actually passing. On here, we also added the lines again for the urban target, rural target. These are set standards that we have for comparison's sake. Orange and very similar. But you'll see that for passengers per hour, that in some zones, Ashland and Azalea, we are exceeding those numbers. So those are some that we are focusing on for next booking change to actually put in additional vehicles. Strategically, so only certain points of the day to address that. We are looking at going and say certain zones that look like they're capacity and has for example, Azalea, knowing Azalea is a very heavily used corridor itself, maybe fixed route can also be reviewed in terms of a supplement to that. Wait times, these are standards that are in there as well. Powhatan being more rural has one that is further out. So that way further target, but we are more or less making those, actually all of them, making the target as far as the wait times. It ranges between 20 and 60 minutes. Booking methods, planning, particularly Link service, they're looking at looking at people whether using the app or using calling in, and we do see more people using the app versus calling in.
All right, thank you for stepping in. Questions? We'll see you at least 2 more times. Yeah. Or 1 more time anyway.
2. Maybe 2.
Yeah. Thank you. Y'all might want to check in on Frank, make sure he's okay. Yeah. Subcommittee report. Barb, do you have anything?
I do. I'll try to keep it brief. We covered a lot of interesting projects and studies. On a high level though, with Link, the next steps are going to be rider surveys and refining zones and service based on data that we can get from VIA. We'll be adding more zones and identifying new zones with localities for future expansion. FY25 priorities, there were 6, 4 of them were accomplished with the June booking, but next up are Broad Rock Cherry Gardens, Link, Zone implementation, and Montrose White Oak Village, Link Zone implementation. Capital projects, North-South BRT is going to have a very busy September with public engagement. Beginning early in September 9th, all the way through the 30th, there's going to be information posted on a webpage for people to get familiarized with proposals for North-South BRT. There are going to be some pop-up meetings September 9th and 11th along the existing local bus route to get input that way. There's also an open house at Main Street Station September 6th from 5 to 7. I think that date's been confirmed.
It's 16.
Oh, 16th, I'm sorry, I misspoke. September 16th, 5 to 7, Main Street Station. And then there's a virtual public meeting planned for September 19th from 2 to 1. So try to get to one of those. Western Pulse Extension, there's a public meeting on September 23rd for that project. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? Transit stop improvements, that was one of the public comments. GRTC got $10 million for implementing transit stop. That's huge. So they're developing they will be developing an implementation plan and condition assessment. They've got 50 shelters arriving from now through the end of the year. So that's awesome. I think those were the highlights.
Thank you, Barb.
Yep.
Any other subcommittee reports? I would assume, Jim, anything you have to say, you wait till 5. Ellen, don't you chair a committee too? No?
I don't think so. It's been a while.
So let's move forward to the next portion, which is major projects procurement updates. So that's Adrian, that's 3 updates, and then we have an action item.
Oh, sorry. I talked about your thing.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
She knows not to have to repeat it.
Right, well, Barb did cover some of these more briefly, or at least one of them. Right. First one is just an update on the essential transit infrastructure implementation. We lost our program manager for that, a little bit of background, so we have now jumped back full force and are getting some support. But just to say the same thing what Barb said, you may have seen them come in over here, but we have, I want to say about 18 shelters right now. A total of 50 will be coming in. 38 of those are for the city of Richmond, 8 of those are for Henrico County, and 4 of those will go into Chesterfield. They all will be on site by December, and the goal is to get them all in by the end of the year. So we are working aggressively at those first 50 now with our consultants. And we additionally are about to put in an order, hopefully in the next week or so, for Henrico County. Henrico County received, through GRTC, a grant specifically federally for 30 shelters and 50 benches. So we're going to put that order in roughly $1.5 million to get them implemented. And it's 32 plus or minus weeks to be able to receive those facilities and shelters. So it'll be a bit of time, but we'll do all the engineering and concrete work in the meantime. We're on it. And then help to get this in, we want to develop a 1 to 3 year implementation plan to get as much in as we can, which will include engineering, contract support, communication plan, and then as we continue to grow our shelters and benches, we want to maintain them. So having them develop a current maintenance plan and how do we keep that going, so identifying resources to go with that as well. That is not to exceed amounts. That's more of a procurement needs in the procurement summary. This is the task order of 1.1 million, and that's with 1 million. We'll see a lot more coming. We'll continue to update you guys on that. Next, please. This is exciting. About 2 weeks ago now, on Tuesday, Henrico County took to their public hearing with the Board of Supervisors, piece of property highlighted as a triangle on Old Parham and Parham Road. And that is identified at the end of the line of our future western extension for our Pulse line. We're looking at doing a transfer station and a very small park and ride for this particular property. So now that has gone as far as preliminary approval and public hearing, we can move forward with the federally required evaluation of this. So we're looking at doing environmental analysis, NEPA, for acquisition as well as development. Kicking that off soon in conjunction with the western extension. So this is huge, very exciting, and continue to appreciate the support. Next. Very related. This one is an action item. The study closed out in May, the formal study that we worked on in coordination with the city of Richmond for identifying a permanent downtown home for the transfer station. So all in all, they identified Site 8 and Site 9, and the biggest benefit they saw, well, a couple of them, Site 9 being that continuation of operations was huge as far as difference for staying on Site 8, where we had an issue in even the temporary location trying to fit us on whether it was 8th Street, Clay Street, somewhere else. We basically didn't work out, knowing that the courts building, federal courts building, historical sites, it really limited us. So we ended up on Site 8. So staying there, another coordination that was huge for Site 8 when we got temporary location was the actual parking for the courts. So we were able to keep them on site with very minimal evening improvements. So staying on Site 8 is just continuation for the courts, continuation for GRTC, if Site 9 moves forward as the preferred site for, again, just continued coordination with the city as far as what actually goes there. Consultants have a recommendation, very conceptual. So with that, Site 9 is actually one of the action items, and I'll go ahead and read it, but for the board of directors to authorize CEO to sign the MOU between the city of Richmond and GRTC, enable the construction of a permanent downtown bus transfer hub and mixed-use development. Any questions?
Questions? All right. So we're prepared for a vote. For questions? Well, can someone make a motion to accept? All right, move. I mean, the motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Again, questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
That was simple enough. Thank you. All right, financial updates. Subcommittee report, and then we have another action item.
We met on August 8th and approved the minutes from the previous meeting and reviewed the June financials, and everything stayed on track. And John, I think, is going to give us a little update or answer any questions.
The quick update on the financials, very much similar, being driven by favorable expenditures and lower than budgeted revenues due to the expense being on the budget. So net what we'll be presenting is in the package is a surplus of around $3.4 million. As we talked about earlier at the August 8th Finance Committee meeting, we're in the process of our financial audit. This past Monday, we'll go forward until hopefully a sign off in early October. We already have the pension plan audit is already completed, as well as the RideFinders audit has also been completed. As for the second portion of the Finance Committee meeting, as Adrian has briefed you on the Downtown Transfer Center, during the Finance Committee had previously requested GRTC staff to explore the possibility whether GRTC had the ability to issue tax exempt revenue bonds to financial large infrastructure, such as the transfer center. So GRTC has consulted with bond counsel and CBTA counsel to determine that it is believed that with the appropriate board approvals and following the validation process that our bond counsel at Williams Mullen has outlined, GRTC does have the authority to issue tax exempt revenue bonds based upon a review of all the applicable Commonwealth of Virginia as well as the federal Internal Revenue Code statutes. In order to move this further to determine timing structure and size and so forth, GRTC will need to retain the services of a financial advisor to assist in the further development of the revenue bond credit and preparation of all documents for a revenue bond sale. Currently, GRTC management has determined we have the ability through the CBTA contract to utilize their financial advisor, which is PFM. And based on the contract cost for the services, the bid card that was submitted through CBA. We do not anticipate the cost through issuance and closing revenue bond for PFM services to be in excess of $75,000. So resolution at the Finance Committee was to seek the Finance Committee's approval, and now the Finance Committee is recommending to the board that GRTC continue to pursue the processes outlined by bond counsel to obtain the requisite approvals and initiate a bond validation proceeding for the creation of the GRTC revenue bond program. In addition, the Finance Committee recommends to the GRTC Board of Directors that the GRTC management engage PFM to act as a financial advisor on behalf of GRTC to assist in the establishment of the GRTC revenue bond credit for a fee not to exceed $75,000. Any questions?
Questions? All right, doesn't seem like any. So anything you want to say about the bond piece, or you done? So we need a motion to accept our revenue bond program. All right, motion from Chair.
Second.
Chair of the committee. Second made by Mr. Addison. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, Madam CEO, do you have anything to share?
No, I didn't get this one.
Okay. I think last time we met, we didn't have, last time we met, we didn't have a quorum. So we did recognize a couple of our employees at our last unofficial meeting. And I asked at the unofficial meeting for a committee to be put together to lay out where we're going as it relates to officers. So I think Barb, Todd, and Lincoln are the committee. So we'll hear back in September, maybe, I think. In September is the retreat?
Retreat, yes.
Okay, so that's the third Tuesday at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, 8 to 11-ish, something of that nature. I don't have any other business. Do you guys have any business? All right, well.
Not for this group.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Woman.